Hi, it's Xavier of Expressions of Grace Bonsai, and today we're going to be repotting our dwarf azaleas. Now clearly this one is still well and truly in lovely beautiful bloom and flower, so I'm not going to repot that. Well, in fact, as you know, it got repotted earlier in the year, but look at that. Absolutely glorious flowers, well worth the effort. You get them for a month and they're brilliant, and after that they look a bit tatty, but that makes it worthwhile. Now what we're going to be doing, repotting these. All the blooms have gone. I'm going to make sure I've removed all the stamen buds so it doesn't actually form seeds, and then I'm going to get it out and put it into some new anyway. We're back now. I've got my mix and I'm following straight in the footsteps of Adam of Notion Bonsai. He likes to mix a little bit of sphagnum with his kanuma, and I've seen one or two others do it, so certainly no harm in it, and be nice to give it a sort of binding, a little bit of binding to the kanuma, which can be a bit powdery. So the first thing we have to do is get it out of those pots. Now, I will say now, temperature's warmed up a bit, and what will happen is once I've done the repots on these, I'll actually put them in the greenhouse, just to try and give it a little bit of humidity. Now, I've done this without the greenhouse frame, and it's been fine. But I want to maximise the opportunity so that when we have a look at these in maybe 4 weeks' time, we'll have a look and see just if we get any sort of growth at all. The first thing you need to do with these is all the old flowering buds you want to get rid of, and we can cut back on these. So got a stamen there, get rid of that. So what we don't want to do now is we want the energy now to go into new growth, not seeds, and all the old flowers that didn't go, don't want them. Get rid of old leggy growth, and to be honest, I'm going to look at this and say it's quite wide. This is my opportunity probably to bring it right back, and I go. There'll be people out there now going, oh, here he goes again. So having removed all the foliage, we'll get out of the pot, and we'll get to the point where you probably want to see. I think you all know how to get things out of a pot. Wire. I'll come back when that's done. Okay, now when we have a look at this, there isn't a great deal of root production there, and it's been in this pot for 2 or 3 years. So again, you know, whether it produces flowers or not, this is actually in decline. So it's another good reason certainly to make sure the repot happens, but I think it's another reminder to me that no matter how much other stuff I've got to do, ignoring things like this in smaller pots can have a very detrimental effect. I should have a lot more root growth than what we're seeing on this, so I'm going to be very careful about how much. If I don't want to remove everything, okay, that's the wire. I'm hoping that there will be certainly a little root ball that just stays together. Now these aren't Satsuki, these are Dwarf Azaleas, a lot more hardy to the UK. So I'm not overly concerned. I just wish it's clear that I haven't cared for this properly. I think it's the truth. And I think, as I've alluded to a few times, although I've had trees for 20 plus years, I really didn't start learning individual techniques properly until maybe 3 years ago, and azalea was probably one of the last to grab my attention, because I always feel like they're a bit difficult because they talk about using kanuma and stuff. It's just, they're like an ericaceous acid soil basically. There's not that many roots there, so get rid of stuff I don't want. The white there, that's just a result of the water we've got, causes that calcification. I'm certainly not going to go digging into there. I know there's a bit of wire in there somewhere, but I have to stay for now. Okay, so you know, there it is. Let's get it back in the pot, shall we? Now, there's no reason why it certainly can't go back in there. using a much finer chopstick because I don't want to break the fine Kanuma down too much. I just still want to get it into the existing root ball a little bit and break that just a little bit. But I am aware that there isn't a massive root structure on this, so okay. That one's repotted. We'll water it in, and then that's going to sit in the greenhouse for probably at least 3 weeks, I think. And let's just see what sort of response we get from it. These two here I'm going to treat exactly the same way, and what we'll do is when they're finished, I'll give you quick 360 spins before I put them away. I will also be tackling my forsythia. Flowers are now dropped, so I want to do exactly the same thing to that. All of these have been in these pots for at least 2 years, so definitely need that repot. Actually, I thought I'd come back and show you this one, only because it's probably difficult. The other one, there was literally, it was all back to wood, and it probably looked pretty desperate, but I look closer at this, and on all of these there are very, very back here little small buds that I can see even now, very low down on the bottom of the branches here. Don't know if you'll be able to see that. Just there on my thumb knuckle there's a little bud there and there which are already starting, and if you look really closely you can see all this back budding. So I'm really quite confident this is this hard prune which you're seeing me do is going to be effective. And guess what? If it's not effective, by the time I'm planning for this one to come out, it won't ever come out. You'll just never hear about my dwarf azaleas again. So I'm literally, again, I want to pick my design. Things have been allowed to get too leggy. And yeah, I could quite happily put that in a little bit of soil and get myself another azalea. For some reason I've decided to leave that bit of green on there, because if everything else dies, at least I'll have that bit of green. Okay, I'm going to clean the pot up, and then you'll see it when it's all repotted. I just thought I'd return you to this one. This is an example of one that actually had a lot more roots on it. Look under it, you know, it's not uniform, but there's definitely a lot of roots there that I can actually trim off. There's a much better mat of root in there as well. So with this one, what I hope to have been able to show you with the other one, is all I will do is literally just carefully tease. These roots, as you know if you work with that, it will rip very easily, and ideally use a little hose and just wash away. But I'm just going to cut the offending rascals away so that I can drop it back in the pot. And there we go, and that will now potentially go into that very, very interesting blue. So yeah, so I thought I'd show you one where the roots are a little bit better. Just thought I'd show you the difference when you have a look at what a forsythia root structure comes out like. All were repotted at the same time a couple of years ago. This one's just massively different. Again, I've cut this right back. Anyway, I'll cut that back and get that into a pot. Okay, well, just want to try and avoid the lawnmower as it comes closer to me. 4 repots are done, and certainly apart from the first one, the other 3 had quite good root structures, so very, very hopeful with them, and I'm sure the first one will be fine. So should we give them a spin? That's the first of the dwarf azaleas that's been cut right back. Again, the idea is to get more and more closer, tight-knit structure in there. But you know, I think I got that back in I got all these in 2016, so you're looking at, they would have been 2 or 3 years old when I got them. They're at least 10 years old now. Then we've got the forsythia, beautiful, really, again, cut that back, and again with these you can see, looking closely, lots of places where it's going to bud out. So very happy with that. I've changed the pot. I think nice pot, but it was too busy. It was too busy for the sort of flowers that produces. I think the yellow against a very plain colour, much better. Beautiful root structure, very, very interesting. Second of the azaleas. Yeah, and I think this was the one you saw me hack by. This is the one that had the least of the roots. I can see that branch there actually being reduced further. That's the sort of thing that if I see this do well, I'll put in my notes that I actually want to bring that right back. Yeah. Okay, and then we've got the third of them. Very, very interesting root structure. I mean, long gone past the days to be able to do anything about that, but I love that. I think that's really interesting. Right, looking in there, it's really quite a nice bit of movement on that. That's probably, well, apart from that we've got lots of back branches. It could well be a nicer front remove. Yeah. So that's the repot's done, and as I say, we're post flowering by about 2 weeks, moving towards May, and hopefully coming near the end of May we might see a lot more flushes, and if I see some really good examples of that, I think it might be a little bit of a tack on that will that you'll get to see. I do remember I was quite savage on dwarf azaleas. We're certainly 4 weeks later here. I wonder what we're going to see amongst this one. That's the nicest one. I can see buds easily from here, new buds forming. Don't know how well my state-of-the-art camera is going to be, but certainly there's loads and loads of new budding points. So definitely worked for that one. Go next door, and again, don't know if it's going to focus on it, but there's definitely bud points. There's definitely bud points all over this one there. Lots of buds, so very, very happy there. And the third one, which has got some nice healthy leaves on it, does have a few buds coming from end branches, but 2 buds from the end of that branch. Here, got some buds there. So of all of them, that's probably the least responsive. But yeah, so the 3 dwarf azaleas have responded very, very positively. A bit longer than I thought. They can normally respond within a week, but it's 4 weeks later and they're really starting to respond well. So very, very happy with what I did there. Can't help it. I call it Tony's juniper, but all the new growth that's coming out on that, he's looking so green. It really is. Really loving it. Thanks so much, Tony, for sending that one as a tree. Actually got to try and identify that lovely juniper I've got. Beautiful foliage on it. I'm surprised I haven't mucked that one up. Anyway, this is the stage when I love the oaks. The leaves are still quite small and delicate, and just looks so much better. Always nice to see the ash at this time of year. Again, the compound leaves haven't yet extended too far out, and you can still see just the hint of a lovely tree in there. Some more of the oaks. This is my old man oak. Well, I know I've got another old man oak, but this one I've got lying down against the rock. There's these old roots there. I've got old and rotten. Interesting how that'll turn out. I've got that lovely oak there. Another one interesting there. I think you saw this one in a video as well. Coming down. Beautiful oak there. And I've got one that actually wired in a Japanese S. I think it's a hazel there actually. Looking good, and all the apples and crab apples are in there. Getting to the last of the openings. It's the red oak. Just see there now, buds are just about to open up. Little forest here. I know you saw that. There, we've got all the lovely leaves are opening up on it. As I say, it's absolutely magical at this time. Got another oak behind it. They all open up at different stages. This forest here, Hasn't even opened up, hasn't even started to open, but the buds, just see them starting to swell. Genkos we're going to see again, they're also now starting to come out. That's interesting. Got ants on that one, which suggests to me we've got certainly a problem with that. I think I need to spray that one. You can see from the way the leaves are not come out properly in comparison to, say, that one. This one they're all crinkled up, so there's going to be a problem there. Oh dear. Got that oak down there. Again, they've all got quite nice trunks, and you can see where I've just done initial cuts on them a couple of years ago. Olives, I've definitely been worried about them, but looking on this one here, potentially I'm just starting to see potentially just about there's some little budding coming. So, as was suggested to me by someone, that could be just olive sulk. You will have definitely seen me muck about eating cherries off this last year, and if you don't remember that, then make sure you have a look at the link I'm just showing up now. But it always flowers a lot later. I say this is common prunus, and it was I'm pretty sure I've said it really was one of the first ever ALAs I took off a garden tree, and I just wrapped a pot around the open wound full of common soil, nothing special about it at all. I didn't know what I was doing, and did brilliantly with it. Very unusual shape, but look at these lovely flowers, and my intention again will be to let them flower up and enjoy the flowers, and then when it comes to the seed time, I'll probably keep 3 or 4 for cherries, which I can taste later on and help you enjoy the flavour. I think last year they were a little bit bitter, but yeah, it's got a long way to go, it really has, but it has come a long way from the stick it was. Quite like that. That's somewhere front, somewhere there, actually looks really nice. Bit of wire on that maybe. Yeah. But I just thought I'd give you a peek of that because it's nice. I get a range of flowering, and then hopefully in another 6 to 8 weeks we might just start seeing the hint of the Satsuki azaleas flowering. Anyway, from Xavier at the patio end of the garden, having redone his pots on his flowering azaleas. Hope you've got something from it. The camera's going back and forth with the light, so I do apologise. All the best. We're all getting a bit excited now as we're going towards the post-flush hardened pruning section of our work. Loads. That's when the maples will get into. Anyway, from Xavier, I'll say thanks very much for watching. God bless. Happy bonsaiing. Cheers.